Chapter 1. The Marriage That Changed. It had been 8 months since Olivia Hayes divorced her husband, Ethan Carter. She had loved him once more than anyone in the world. But love was not enough. He had stopped respecting her, stopped listening to her, and started hurting her with silence. Now 8 months later, Ethan wanted to come back. He said he had changed. But Olivia remembered every tear, every night of pain. She sat on the couch that night, thinking about everything. Her voice was calm but heavy as she spoke to her audience. 8 months ago I ended my marriage, she said. People asked me why. They thought we were fine, but they didn't see what happened behind closed doors. My husband used to disrespect me, ignore me, and make me feel like I didn't exist. I was dying slowly inside my own home. When they got married, things were beautiful. Ethan was kind, funny, and full of dreams. He used to bring her coffee in the morning and they used to talk for hours. But soon after he changed. He became busy, cold, and careless. He stopped saying good morning. He stopped noticing her smile. He came home late and never explained where he was. Olivia remembered one night when she had cooked his favorite pasta. She waited for him till midnight. The food got cold. The candles melted. He walked in at 1 o'clock in the morning, talking on the phone and laughing. He didn't even look at her. When she asked where he had been, he said, "Don't start again, Olivia. I'm tired." That sentence broke something inside her. Every day after that became harder. He started comparing her with other women. He said they were more confident, more fun. He made her feel like she was not enough. "Do you know how it feels?" she whispered. "When the person you love makes you feel small." Her eyes filled with tears, but her voice stayed strong. There were times when she tried to fix things. She planned dinners. She bought new clothes. She said sorry even when it wasn't her fault. But he never changed. He never looked into her eyes the way he once did. He lived like she was not even in the same house. One morning she tried to talk again. She said, "Ethan, what happened to us? Why don't you talk to me anymore?" He didn't even look up from his phone. He said, "You make everything complicated. You always complain." And he walked away. That was the moment she understood. She was talking to a wall. Days turned into weeks. Ethan started coming home, smelling like another perfume. He spent weekends working but never brought home any work files. Olivia stayed quiet, hoping it was her imagination. But deep down she knew the truth. Something was wrong. When her friend Lena visited her one evening, she saw the sadness in Olivia's eyes. "You deserve better," Lena said softly. "You can't keep breaking yourself just to keep a man happy." Olivia wanted to believe her, but she was still afraid to let go. Then one evening, Ethan didn't come home at all. He came the next morning acting normal. He said, "You worry too much." But his shirt smelled like perfume and his phone had a new password. That day, Olivia sat in the kitchen and cried silently. Her heart said, "This is not love anymore. This is pain." She told her audience, "I tried to hold on, but sometimes holding on hurts more than letting go. That's why I divorced him. I had to save myself before I lost myself completely." Now, after 8 months, Ethan was back. He wanted to talk. He wanted to fix things. He said he missed her. He said he realized his mistakes. But Olivia wasn't sure if love could be repaired after so much damage. "He wants me back now," she said softly. "He says he can't live without me. He says he finally understands my worth. But where was that love when I was crying alone? Where was that respect when I begged him to listen?" Her voice trembled for a moment. "People ask if I will take him back," she continued. "I don't know. I only know one thing. I am not the same woman anymore. I learned to live without him. I learned to love myself." She looked out of the window, her heart heavy but strong. The moonlight touched her face as she whispered to herself, "He realized my worth too late." That night, Olivia closed her diary. Tomorrow she would tell the world the full story. The story of betrayal, silence, and the strength to walk away. Like, subscribe, and share. Read this story and many more on our website, bookishenglish.com. Link in the description. Chapter 2. The Signs I Ignored. Olivia sat on her bed one evening, holding her phone tightly. Her heart was heavy. She whispered softly, "He wants to come back now. But where was he when I needed him?" Her eyes filled with tears. It had been 8 months since the divorce, but the memories were still fresh. She remembered the pain clearly, the small signs she had ignored, and the way she kept pretending everything was fine. When her marriage started falling apart, she didn't notice it right away. It didn't happen in one night. It happened slowly, quietly. Ethan started coming home late, saying he had work meetings. First she believed him. She trusted him completely. But soon things began to feel different. He stopped hugging her. He stopped saying, "I love you." He stopped talking about his day. When she tried to ask what was wrong, he just said, "I'm tired, Olivia. Please don't start." His words felt like a door closing in her face. One day she made his favorite breakfast, pancakes with maple syrup, just like she used to when they were happy. He looked at the food, checked his phone, and said, "I don't have time for this." Then he walked out without even tasting it. Olivia stood there frozen, holding the plate in her hand. Her heart whispered, "Something is wrong." At night he started sleeping with his phone under the pillow. Once when it rang at midnight, he jumped up and ran to the balcony to answer it. When he came back, she asked gently, "Who was it?" He said, "A colleague." But she could see the smile on his face. It wasn't the smile he gave to his wife. It was the kind of smile a man gives when he's hiding something. She told herself to stop thinking too much. She wanted to believe in him. She wanted to protect her marriage. Every night she prayed, "Please make him love me again." But the signs kept growing. He started dressing differently, using a new perfume. He carried his phone everywhere, even to the shower. Once she found a gold bracelet in his car. It wasn't hers. Her hands began to shake. But she said nothing. She didn't want to fight. She thought maybe silence would save their love. Her friend Lena noticed the sadness in her eyes. "Olivia," she said softly, "you look tired. You can't keep pretending. Love doesn't mean you have to lose yourself." Olivia smiled weakly and said, "I just want my husband back. I'll wait. Maybe he'll remember how it felt to love me." But things only got worse. Ethan became more distant. He came home smelling like another woman's perfume. He started calling Olivia too emotional and boring. One night he told her, "You should learn to be more fun. You're not the same person I married." Those words felt like knives in her chest. She spent nights crying silently. She didn't want anyone to know her marriage was falling apart. She deleted photos of them together because they made her heartache. She wrote long messages to him explaining how she felt, but never sent them. She just kept them in her phone as if waiting for the right time. That never came. Then one evening, Ethan came home with a smile on his face. Olivia's heart lifted for a moment. She thought maybe he was happy to see her, but his smile wasn't for her. He walked straight to the bathroom, talking on the phone. She heard him laugh softly. The laughter she used to love now sounded like a stranger's. Later that night, when he fell asleep, she opened his laptop. She didn't want to. She had promised herself she would never check, but her hands moved on their own. When the screen lit up, she saw the name Jenna, and the words that followed made her chest hurt. "I miss you. You looked beautiful today. I wish I could see you again." Her hands trembled. Her breath stopped. She felt her world falling apart in Silence. The man who once called her his forever was now whispering love to someone else. The next morning she tried to talk to him calmly. Ethan. Who is Jenna? She asked softly. He looked angry, not guilty. Don't start again. You always create drama, he said coldly. He walked away, leaving her standing there with tears in her eyes. Days turned into weeks. She tried one last time to fix things. Ethan, she said, I'm not perfect, but I've loved you with everything I have. Tell me what I did wrong. He didn't answer. He just said, maybe. We just want different things. That moment broke her. After that he stopped coming home on time. He stopped caring completely. One weekend he said he was going on a work trip, but he didn't. Olivia saw a photo of him online. He was with Jenna at a party. Her hands shook as she looked at the picture. She felt her heart break again, piece by piece. That night, she sat in her room holding her wedding ring. I used to be your home, she whispered. And now I'm just a memory. She knew the truth now. There was no fixing this. There was no more love to fight for. She didn't sleep that night. She just kept remembering the good days. The first kiss, the laughter, the long drives, and how all of it had vanished. Without warning, she realized that no matter how hard she tried, one-sided love never saves a marriage. Olivia spoke softly to her audience. You know, when you love someone, you try everything to make it work. You forgive. You stay quiet. You hope. But silence doesn't heal what disrespect destroys. The next day she made her final decision. She called a lawyer. The papers were ready within a week. Ethan didn't even ask why. He just signed them and left the house. No sorry, no goodbye. Just silence. Olivia remembered that moment forever. The sound of the door closing behind him. It was the sound of her freedom, but also the sound of her broken heart. She ended the chapter with tears in her eyes. He didn't realize my worth when I was beside him, she said. But one day he will. She closed her diary and smiled sadly. And when that day comes, I'll already have moved on. Join our membership for more emotional stories. Chapter 3. The Night of Truth. Olivia could not forget the day she found out everything. It was a quiet evening. Ethan had said he was going to meet a client, but she already knew something was wrong. Her heart told her the truth long before her eyes saw it. Still, she wanted to believe that he was honest. She wanted to believe that her marriage still had some love left inside. She sat near the window waiting. The clock moved slowly. Every sound made her heart beat faster. Midnight passed. The food on the table went cold again, just like every other night. She called him once. He didn't answer. She called again. No reply. That silence said everything. When the door finally opened, Ethan walked in, pretending nothing was wrong. He smiled faintly, not at her, but at a message on his phone. Olivia asked softly, "Where were you?" He didn't even look at her. "You don't trust me anymore," he said. "I told you. I had work." She wanted to believe him, but her heart was tired of lies. The next morning, while he was in the shower, his phone rang. The name on the screen made her body freeze. Jana. Her fingers trembled. She read the message. "Last night was perfect. I miss you already." Her eyes filled with tears, but she didn't cry out loud. She just sat there, staring at the words that ended her marriage. When Ethan came out, she asked in a soft voice, "Who is Jenna?" He looked shocked, then angry. "You're checking my phone now. This is why I can't live with you. You have no trust," Olivia said quietly. "Trust? You broke that long ago." Ethan walked away. He slammed the door and left her standing there. That evening she decided to find out everything. She followed him from a distance. Her heart was pounding, but her steps were strong. She saw him enter a restaurant. He Saturday at a corner table. And then she saw her, Jenna, smiling, touching his hand, laughing like nothing in the world mattered. For a few seconds Olivia couldn't breathe. The man she had loved for years was sitting there with another woman like their marriage never existed. She didn't cry. She just turned away quietly. That silence was louder than any scream. Back home she looked around at her house. Every picture, every memory felt fake now. She took off her wedding ring and placed it on the table. She looked at it for a long time. Then she whispered, "It's over." Her voice was steady. It was not weakness. It was the sound of a woman who finally saw the truth. That night, she wrote in her diary, "He lied to me every day, but the truth set me free." She packed her clothes. The next morning, she didn't leave a long note, only one small line. "You chose her, so I'm choosing myself." She closed the door behind her. For the first time in years, the silence in her life felt peaceful. After the divorce papers were signed, Ethan didn't call her. He didn't even ask why she left. But deep inside, Olivia knew that one day he would understand. One day he would realize that no woman could love him the way she did. She spoke softly to her audience. When you discover betrayal, it doesn't only break your heart, it opens your eyes. I stayed too long because I believed love could fix everything. But love cannot grow where there is no respect. Olivia wiped her tears and smiled sadly. "He thought I would always be there," she said. "But sometimes walking away is the only way to be heard." She looked down at her wedding ring one last time before putting it away forever. Her heart whispered, "I lost a husband, but I found my strength." The next morning she began a new chapter of her life, not in her diary, but in her soul. Join our membership for exclusive English stories. Link below. Chapter 4. Walking Away. Olivia remembered the night she left her house for the last time. It was silent. It was painful. But it was also the moment she decided to live for herself. She had discovered the truth, and there was no way back. Ethan's betrayal had already destroyed the last bit of hope she had. She had spent months trying to save their marriage, but love cannot grow where lies live. That evening she sat in her room, holding her wedding ring. Her hands were shaking. Her mind was loud, but her heart was calm. She whispered, "I gave you every chance, Ethan. You threw them away." Then she looked at her phone one last time. No call, no message, nothing. She stood up, opened her closet, and slowly packed her clothes. Each piece reminded her of a different time, a date, a smile, a memory. Now all of it felt like someone else's story. When she zipped the bag, she felt like she was closing a chapter of her life. On the table she placed a short note. It said, "I'm not leaving because I stopped loving you. I'm leaving because you stopped caring." Then she placed her wedding ring beside it and took one deep breath. Before walking out, she looked around the house. Every wall had a story. Every corner had her love. She smiled sadly and said to herself, "Goodbye, Olivia, the wife. Hello, Olivia, the woman." The next morning she filed for divorce. Ethan didn't argue. He didn't ask her to stay. He just signed the papers and left. That silence hurt more than any fight. She thought, "Even now you don't care enough to stop me." The first few weeks alone were hard. Olivia cried almost every night. She wasn't crying for him anymore. She was crying for the years she wasted, for the love she gave to someone who didn't value it. But with every tear she became a little stronger. One afternoon her friend Lena visited her. "You look tired," Lena said softly. Olivia smiled weakly. "I feel free," she replied. "But freedom can also hurt." Lena hugged her and said, "You made the right choice. Someday you'll see it clearly." Days passed. Olivia started painting again. She used colors she hadn't touched in years. Each brush stroke felt like healing. She started working in a small art studio downtown. She met new people, laughed a little, and slowly remembered how it felt to breathe. Her nights were still lonely, but the silence didn't scare her anymore. It felt peaceful. She would make tea, sit near the window, and write in her diary. One night she wrote, "It's strange. I thought I couldn't live without him. But here I am, living, growing, becoming myself again." She began noticing small changes in herself. She was more confident. She could sleep without waiting for anyone's call. She could smile without pretending. She had found a kind of strength she didn't know existed. But sometimes late at night, she still wondered if Ethan ever thought about her, if he ever missed her, if he ever felt the pain she once felt every day. Maybe one day, she whispered, he will realize what he lost. That day came sooner than she thought. One morning, Olivia got a message from an unknown number. It was Ethan. The text said, "I'm sorry for everything. Can we talk?" Her heart stopped for a second. She didn't reply. She just stared at the screen. She knew this would happen. She knew that one day he would regret everything. But now she was different. She had no anger left, only calm. She said softly, "You're late, Ethan." Too late. The next day she went for a walk near the lake. The air was cool. She took a deep breath and smiled. She was free. Truly free. Olivia turned her phone off and whispered to herself, "Sometimes walking away isn't losing. It's winning quietly." That evening she spoke to her audience. If you're holding on to someone who disrespects you, let go. You are not built to live in pain. You are built to rise again. She smiled through her tears and said softly, "He thought I would never leave, but I did. And that's when I found my peace." Like, subscribe, and share. Read this story and many more on our website, bookishenglish.com. Link in the description. Chapter 5. The Price of Freedom. Olivia's new life began quietly. The pain was still there, but it no longer controlled her. She had stopped waiting for messages that never came. She had stopped looking at old pictures. Each morning she told herself one thing: I survived. At first everything felt strange. She had spent years living for someone else. Now she had to learn how to live for herself. She worked at a small art studio and painted every day. The colors on her canvas looked brighter than her past. One evening her friend Lena said softly, "You look peaceful now." Olivia smiled. "Peace is expensive, Lena. I paid for it with my heart." She began to smile again, not because everything was perfect, but because she was finally free. She went for short walks, met a few new people, and learned to enjoy her own company. The silence that once hurt her now felt like healing. One night she got a message from her lawyer. The final divorce papers were complete. It was truly over. She read them carefully, signed them, and whispered, "This is not an ending. This is my beginning." While Olivia was building her new life, Ethan's world was falling apart. After the divorce, he tried to fill his empty days with parties, friends, and new relationships. But nothing lasted. Jenna, the woman he once laughed with, had already moved on. She stopped answering his calls. She found someone else. Ethan felt lost. For the first time, he had no one waiting for him at home. He came back to an empty apartment and realized what loneliness really felt like. He thought about Olivia's calm smile, her soft voice, the way she used to make him coffee just the way he liked. He whispered to himself, she never asked for too much. She just wanted love. Weeks turned into months. Ethan started remembering small things. The morning notes she used to leave on his desk. The way she stayed up when he was sick. The simple good night she said every day. He had taken all of it for granted. Now every memory hurt like a wound. One evening while scrolling on social media, he saw a photo of her. Olivia was standing at an art gallery smiling. Beside her painting, she looked confident and peaceful. That picture broke him completely. He realized that she had found happiness without him. He stared at her photo for a long time and said softly, "You look beautiful, Olivia. You look free." His eyes filled with tears. "And I'm the reason you had to learn how to be." Days later, Ethan tried to reach her. He sent a short message. "I'm sorry for everything." Olivia saw it. She didn't reply. She had no anger left, only peace. She whispered, "Some stories don't need an ending. They just need distance." She told her audience later, "Freedom is not easy. Cost your comfort, your habits, and your heart. But once you choose it, you never regret it." Her voice was calm, but every word carried a lesson. "When I walked away, I didn't know what I would find. But I found peace, and that was enough." Olivia had learned the true meaning of self-worth. She no longer needed his apology to feel complete. Her silence had become her power. That night she looked at the stars from her window and said quietly, "Maybe one day he'll understand how it feels to lose something that loved him more than he loved himself." She closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and smiled. Her freedom was no longer painful. It was beautiful. Support our work by sending a super thanks. It really means a lot. Chapter 6. The knock on the door. Olivia's days were peaceful now. She had no fights to face, no cold silences waiting for her at home. She painted, worked, and slept without fear. Yet deep inside there was still a quiet ache, not for Ethan but for the love that had once been so real. She sometimes wondered if he ever thought about her, but she never asked, never called, never tried. She had learned that peace grows best in silence. Then one evening the past knocked on her door, literally. It was raining outside when she heard it. 3 slow knocks. When she opened the door, Ethan stood there. He looked tired. His eyes were red and his face looked older. For a few seconds they just looked at each other without words. "Olivia," he said softly, "please don't close the door. I just want to talk." Her heart raced, but her voice stayed calm. "Why now, Ethan? It's been months." He took a deep breath. "I know. And every day I've hated myself a little more. I destroyed everything good in my life. You were the best part of me and I threw it away." Olivia didn't reply. She wanted to stay strong, but her eyes filled with tears. He looked different, broken in a way she had never seen before. He stepped forward slowly. "I met many people," he said quietly. "I thought I was free. I thought I could find happiness in someone else, but all I found was emptiness." She crossed her arms, her voice shaking. "And now you remember me because you're lonely." He shook his head. "No, I remember you because I finally understand. You were my peace. You were my home." Her heart trembled at those words. She had waited years to hear them, but now they didn't sound the same. They sounded late. "You hurt me too much, Ethan," she whispered. "You broke something that doesn't fix easily." He looked down. "I know, but I've changed. I don't want to lie anymore. I don't want to hide anymore. I just want a chance to make things right." She looked at him quietly. Her voice was gentle but firm. "You had a chance to love me when I was beside you. Now you only love the memory of me." Ethan's eyes filled with tears. "Maybe you're right. But I can't forget you, Olivia. I tried. I really tried. Every time I close my eyes I see you. I see your smile, your kindness, the way you looked at me when I didn't deserve it. I can't live like this anymore." Olivia sighed. "Ethan, forgiveness is not impossible. But trust is," he said. "Then let me earn it. Let me start again." She paused for a long moment. The woman who once cried for his love was now standing tall. "Ethan," she said softly, "you can't fix the past. But if you really mean it, prove it. Show me that you've changed. Not with promises, with actions." He nodded slowly. "I will," he said, "even if it takes years." As he left that night, Olivia stood at the door watching him walk away in the rain. Her eyes were wet, but her heart was calm. She whispered, "Maybe people can change, but I will never lose myself again for someone else." That night, she opened her diary and wrote, "He came back not because he missed me, but because he finally saw what love truly was." She closed the diary and smiled faintly. She didn't know what the future would bring. Maybe forgiveness, maybe not. But one thing was clear. She had finally learned to love herself more than the memories that once hurt her. Join our membership for exclusive English stories. Link below. Chapter 7. The Conditions of Love. Days passed after Ethan's visit. Olivia kept thinking about what he had said. His words still echoed in her mind. "I will do anything to earn your trust." Again, a part of her wanted to believe him, but another part of her was afraid. She had built her peace with pain and she didn't want to lose it again. One afternoon, Ethan came to see her. Again. He stood quietly at her door, holding nothing this time. No flowers, no gifts, only honesty in his eyes. "Can I talk for a minute?" he asked. Softly. She nodded slowly. They sat down and the silence between them felt heavy but not hateful. Ethan spoke first. "I know you don't trust me. You have every reason not to. But I need to say this. I've changed. Olivia. I don't want to live like the man I used to be." She looked at him calmly. "You say you've changed, but words are easy. What if I forgive you and you hurt me again?" He shook his head. "I won't. I can't lose you again." His voice cracked as he spoke. "I met many people, but none of them felt real. I've learned that love without respect is nothing. I disrespected the only person who truly cared for me." Olivia looked down for a moment. "If you really mean what you're saying, then you must accept a few conditions," she said, "because I won't go through that pain again." He nodded quickly. "Tell me. Whatever it is, I'll do it." She took a deep breath and began. "First, you must give me respect always. Not when things are easy, but when they're hard. I don't want loud words or cold silences anymore. I want honesty." He nodded. "I promise." "Second," she said, "you must be loyal. No more secrets, no more lies. I can forgive the past, but I can't live with another betrayal. I swear never again," he said, tears forming in his eyes. "Third," she continued softly, "we must walk together as equals. Every decision, every problem, every plan, we face it together. Not me alone. Not you alone." Ethan listened quietly. Then he said, "I accept all of it. I agree to every word. I don't want freedom anymore. I want peace, and peace lives with you." Olivia's eyes softened. She had heard many promises before, but this time his voice sounded different. She could see pain, not pride. "If you really mean it, prove it with actions, not with words," she said gently. He smiled faintly. "You'll see, Olivia. I won't fail again." From that day, Ethan began to change. He deleted old contacts. He stopped drinking. He called his mother again, the woman he had ignored for years. He started working seriously, helping others instead of wasting time on empty friendships. Sometimes he came to see Olivia and helped her with her art. He never crossed her limits. He respected her silence. Slowly, her walls began to fall. She saw his efforts, real, patient, and humble. One evening, she told him quietly, "You're not the man I left. You're someone new." He smiled softly and said, "No, I'm the same man. But now I understand what love means." Olivia's heart felt warm again, but this time it was different. It wasn't blind love. It was calm, mature, and safe. She knew she could forgive him now, not because she was weak, but because she had grown strong enough to choose peace. Later that night, she wrote in her diary, "People can change if they truly feel the loss of love. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past. It gives both hearts a new chance to heal. She closed the diary and smiled. For the first time in years, her heart didn't ache, just felt quiet. Support our work by sending a super thanks. It really helps us continue sharing stories with you. Chapter 8. Peace. After the storm, months passed quietly. The wounds between Olivia and Ethan slowly began to heal. Forgiveness had taken root in her heart, not because she forgot what happened, but because she wanted peace more than pain. Ethan kept his word. He followed every condition she had given him. He spoke kindly. He stayed honest. He respected her silence. At first, Olivia kept a distance. She needed time to see if he was truly different. But every time she looked at him now, she saw a man trying hard to rebuild what he had once destroyed. One evening she told him softly, "You're learning to love differently now." Ethan smiled. "No," he said. "I'm learning to love right this time." Little by little, trust returned. They began talking again, not like strangers but not yet like lovers. They spoke about life, about mistakes, and about how love changes with time. Ethan admitted everything he had done. "I lost myself when I stopped valuing you," he said. "And I only found myself when I lost you." Olivia listened quietly. She had no anger left. She looked at him and said, "The hardest lesson is to realize too late what truly matters, but you learned it." He nodded, his eyes full of tears. "I did. You were never asking for too much. You were just asking for love." One afternoon, Ethan came to see her at her art show. He stood there watching her talk to people, smiling with calm pride. When the event ended, he walked to her and said, "You look happy." Olivia smiled gently. "I am," she said. "Happiness feels light when you stop carrying old pain." They went for a walk that evening. The silence between them was peaceful this time. No anger, no regret. Ethan took a deep breath and said, "Thank you, Olivia, for giving me another chance to be a better man, even if not your man again." She looked at him softly and said, "I never wanted to punish you, Ethan. I just wanted you to understand love the way I always did." A few weeks later, they met again near the lake where their marriage had once ended. The air was calm. The memories no longer hurt. They sat on a bench side by side, watching the quiet water. Ethan turned to her and said, "You forgave me even when you didn't have to." "Why?" Olivia smiled faintly. "Because forgiveness isn't for you. It's for me. I didn't want to spend my life hating someone I once loved. I wanted peace, and I found it by letting go." He nodded, holding back tears. "You'll always be the best part of my story," he whispered. She replied softly, "And you'll always be the lesson I never forget." That night, she wrote in her diary, "He realized my worth, but I'm grateful I realized my own first." Love is not about holding on. It's about learning when to let go and when to heal. Months later, they both moved forward with new lives, carrying no bitterness. They still talk sometimes, kindly, respectfully, and with understanding. Their love had changed shape. It had turned into peace. Olivia often told her viewers, "Sometimes love comes back not to stay, but to say sorry. And that's enough." The story of Olivia and Ethan was not about revenge or pain. It was about growth, forgiveness, and self-worth. She had lost everything once, but in losing, she had found herself. She smiled as she closed her diary for the last time and whispered, "I am free." Join our membership for exclusive English stories. Link below. Like, subscribe, and share. Read this story and many more on our website, bookishenglish.com. Link in the description. The end.